Hello and welcome to the Dad and Buried podcast. As always, I am your host, Mike, aka Dad and Buried of Instagram fame. You probably know me from Instagram. Maybe you've seen me on the street.
You're huge on Instagram.
I am pretty huge. I'm approaching 200K. Let's hit 200K by June, guys. All right, let's do this.
But you know who's hot on your tail?
This lady here,
Yeah.
my wife, Mom and Buried. I'm not going to use your real name. I don't need people DMing you thinking that they can throw the intimacy card with because I know your real name. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
All right, so this week, it's our 102nd episode. If you didn't know, we are into the second 100. We hit 100 episodes a couple weeks ago. Last week, we did Mother's Day. We got Mama Buried's input, and then I proceeded to absolutely crush Mother's Day. What do you think? Did I do okay?
I think you did pretty good. Now, someone pointed out, I believe, on one of your posts that after last year, it was a real low bar for like everyone.
Oh, yeah, but last year I did pretty good, too.
You did really great. Last year, you pulled off an awesome brunch at home.
I got lucky last year. This year, I put in a lot of effort. Nothing huge, just a bunch of little things over the course of the weekend, because we do Mother's Day weekend, because I like having extra chances to get it right. If I blow it on Friday, try again on Saturday. If I blow it on Saturday, I got Sunday. Well,
we had a date on Friday night, which was like, because of science, our babysitter.
Vaccines. We're both vaccinated, and we had a babysitter. Amazing stuff.
The things you can do. So get vaccinated. That's the PSA that'll turn off some people here.
Well, I don't think they're listening anymore. So.
Also, so that was nice. We got to go out and
we went to a
museum.
We went to a museum.
We went in an enclosed building.
Again, we've been vaccinated. We still wore masks.
We still wore masks,
careful.
and I still think that it's not a zero risk situation, especially for someone
not for you,
like
higher
me
risk,
who has an autoimmune disease. That being said, feeling increasingly safer, especially here in New York, where the rates are down to like 1% because of all the vaccinations. I'm just going to applaud that. Thank you for making my Mother's Day a little bit better, science.
I posted a thing about, why you should get vaccinated, and people get mad at me, and I'm like, look, I understand it's your choice. If it's your choice for like legitimate reasons, fine. If it's your choice because you think Bill Gates put a microchip in there, or because, Trump thinks being in the sun will kill it, then, I don't know what to tell you. I hope like somebody should blindfold you and then just give you the vaccine. Okay. Get a little off topic.
This is not the topic this week. We hope everyone had a wonderful Mother's Day, but the topic is...
Especially you single dads who are pulling double duty as moms and dads. I love you.
And so, because, we say a lot of jokes here, but, why don't we still bask in the glory of Mother's Day or just parenting in general? And this week we're going to talk about what you're good at.
So as I said on Instagram when I asked for questions, we're going to do it we're going to hit the positivity tip. Is that what they say?
Absolutely.
We're on the positive. Something like Eric Nees would say, which I also said on Instagram, and one person was like, I love that you referenced Eric Nees, and every single other person was like, who the fuck is that guy?
He was
like
on
you
MTV,
didn't watch The
right?
Grind back in the day. Yeah, he was on the first Real World, back when it was actually like a documentary and not an orgy.
It really was kind of still an orgy at the beginning.
Anyway, we're trying to do something a little bit positive this week. So we're going to talk about what you're good at, which is not easy for me because I'm not good at anything when it comes to parenting. I should specify what you're good at parenting, not what you're good at in general, because again, that's also tough for me. But I'm good at Mother's Day, apparently, 2 for 2 years in a row.
It's pretty good. Thank you, Dad and Dad.
What was nice?
And also the kids.
Mainly the kids. What was nice is we got a lot of comments, a lot of people, there were a lot of jokes, but a lot of people did give themselves some credit. One person even messaged me to say that, because I think I was self-deprecating as usual in my story where I asked for questions, and I was like, I'm not good at anything, and somebody was like, you don't give yourself enough credit. And I was like, oh, go on, right? And then I let her talk about how good I am at parenting. It was actually my mom. She follows me.
It's like, she doesn't know you. No.
That's right. She's like, who's this person who's telling you you're good at stuff? She doesn't know you.
Yeah, please.
She obviously doesn't know you. You don't know my dog.
We're going to talk about things you're good at, and that I'm good at, and that all of you are good at, because a lot of us feel really down, especially after the last year of absolute fucking hell shit show, and feel like we're failing at literally everything.
Well, we've all gotten a little lax, right? We've let some things go. We've done some episodes about this where we've given up on screen time limits. We've given up on ourselves a little bit. Not me. I look great. Not you. You look incredible. Thank you, honey, for being you. But some of us, I wear a hoodie, 95% of the time. It just is what it is. Discipline maybe is going a little bit out the window. Exercise, all this kind of stuff. And it was nice to see a lot of people coming together and coming forward and saying what they're good at. What's interesting is it wasn't like, I didn't say like, what is your partner good at? I just said, what are you good at? So people were kissing their own asses a bunch, which,
well, that's good. I think there's a lot of burnout out there. A lot of people feel down on themselves and moms all the time have this mom guilt and like the feeling of failing. And
what's that? Dads don't have anxiety or guilt.
No, none of them. We all do. So yay, we are going to celebrate you all this episode and all the things that you're good at. Really fucking rocking,
Let's not go crazy. There's not that many things, okay? There's
some
categories. We do have a lot of stuff. I was actually impressed. So when we come back after the break, we're going to get into what you're good at, what I'm good at. We'll spend a fair amount of time. I'll take about a minute and a half, and then what you're good at. Although I'm not just gonna sit here kissing your ass. We just had Mother's Day, okay? It's dad season now, right? Hot dad season.
No.
DILF season, right? All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Dad and Barry podcast. This week we're talking about what you're good at when it comes to parenting. We'll see how long this episode goes. We did get a lot of feedback.
Yes, I'm excited for people giving themselves some credit.
Before we get into that, I want to remind everybody, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, my blog. I also have a podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it. My wife is on Instagram and
at Mom and Buried.
I'm sorry, at Mom and Buried. Twitter, you're on Twitter. You don't use it too much.
I don't really use Twitter that much. Instagram's really
where you're
home.
at. I'm on TikTok. I'm starting to delve into TikTok. I'm not just doing the chapstick anymore, so you can catch me there.
Should we start doing like couples TikTok dances?
No, we should not.
Like synchronated dancing?
No, we should not.
We should involve the children?
No, we should not.
We should do a whole family thing?
I am going to cut this stick off right now. I will leave the house and not come back. All right. So just obviously you can listen on Spotify and Apple. Please give us reviews. So you know what? I called out and I was like, hey, haven't gotten any reviews in a while. Give me some. A bunch of people clicked. No new reviews. No new ratings. I don't need reviews, just ratings. Come on. Go on Apple.
So they're clicking and just not doing it.
Apparently, I checked like my insights. There are like a bunch of link clicks and nobody actually input anything unless it's just delayed. I don't know. Maybe it's delayed. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You can throw us some money on Patreon and Anchor if you want. Shop.spreadshirt.com. There's a DILF mug, Dad and Buried. Whatever.
Oh yeah, great Father's Day gift. DILF mug.
DILF mug is a great Father's Day. Get it for yourself.
Awesome.
You deserve it. You're a DILF. You'd like to, right?
I bought one for you.
You did.
Yeah.
Thanks, honey.
I'm good.
Okay, so we're talking about things you're good at, and it's not necessarily something that I'm good at talking about, right? So the first comment I got here, I wanted to S. Bladen, B-L-A-D-E-N, said, why is it so easy to think negative stuff and coming up with the good stuff is so hard? For me, I prefer talking about, look, if you followed any of my stuff, if you read my blog, if you've seen a meme, I prefer talking about the negative stuff. I think it's funnier. I think, look, obviously there's some hyperbole and some exaggeration, but I tend to think it's a little bit more honest. And I think it's more helpful to shit on yourself a little bit and let people know that you're challenged by parenting too, and you're not that great at it either. Where solidarity comes in. Somebody who's talking about how good they are, they look all put together and they're all great. We've talked about this plenty of times. It doesn't ring true to me, and I don't think it's particularly helpful. It raises some false expectations. And I just have an easier time talking about negative stuff. It's more fun. It's funnier. At the same time,
sometimes you need to tone it the fuck down, honestly. But I understand it's funnier, and I think we both, make our jokes in that, and that's part of the way of coping with it. But at the same time, I think sometimes it is really hard for a lot of people to give themselves some shout outs. So let's hear what people are good at.
So we're going to start with the baby stuff, right? Because you know what? Before you have kids, you're like, this baby stuff's going to be so hard and everything's going to get easier. Since then, guess what? You're wrong. It's the opposite. We don't have to get into that right now. I think we did an episode on what's the easiest part of parenting. The baby stuff is the easiest. It's the most inconvenient, and it's the hardest to get used to, maybe at the beginning.
Again, for the new moms out there, he is a man.
I am a man.
And
I'm a man.
If you're a breastfeeding mom like I was, he does not have breasts.
I do not have any insight into the breastfeeding experience.
So when there was...
Fed is best is my insight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm 100% for that. In our case, we had a colicky baby who would not take a bottle literally ever.
Mm-hmm.
He would not. He refused. And he screamed in my face every night, all night long. And he was attached to my boob. So, again, not the easiest. I understand you were getting some good sleep then.
Ironically.
Not me.
Ironically, when I scream in somebody's face, it's usually because I have been at the bottle. Get it? Get it? One time I was at a fast food place in Boston, and I said I was going to smash some guy's sideburns upside his face. What does that even mean? Guess what? Doesn't matter. He didn't step. He didn't step to this.
Okay.
I explained to our son what "don't sing it, bring it" means.
So
anybody like Chris Herron out there? Anyway.
First person, Sarah Tish, said...
she was good at the birth part.
The birth part. All right. I mean, that's a huge one.
Can
Especially
you be
if you're
good at
going natural and stuff? That's fucking awesome.
Can you be
that's
good
warrior
at the
shit.
birth part? Like, you can be good at enduring it, and there's nothing more impressive than a woman enduring that. I mean, look, I've stubbed my toe. I've had the hiccups, probably about the same as what extended labor is like, right? Would you agree? If you ever had the hiccups, you probably wouldn't understand.
No, I couldn't possibly relate.
So, but obviously there's probably nothing more impressive in the world than a woman, bearing a child for 9 months and then giving birth, whether it's with an epidural, whether it's all natural, whether it's in a tub in your kitchen.
Remember,
it's all crazy.
Remember,
the last one is the craziest. Why would you eat in your kitchen again? It's so weird.
Remember 10 years ago when I was in a hospital. That was our choice.
I don't remember this at all.
And for 21 hours, I was in labor, and I kept refusing the epidural because I heard it would slow things down. And then eventually they were like, I mean, it's pretty fucking slow.
Your doctor was like, why don't we give it a shot? And then
give it a shot.
Bada bing, bada
I know,
boom.
You got a nap. Like, for me personally, that worked, but it was excruciating pain. Not as painful as the sofa you slept on.
No, that hurt my neck for a couple hours. Like, I had a crick. It sucked. But look, Sarah Tish deserves all the credit in the world. All you moms who've managed to give birth, and it worked out okay. That's incredibly impressive. Kudos to you. Golf clap. Not even a sarcastic golf clap. I just want to clap. Maybe I should snap. I'm a really good snapper. But honestly, it's all downhill. From you're good at giving birth, and then the rest of it is just like, what is this shit show? Sometimes, literally, like Bags Jr. Baggs says that she was good at the diaper change. Her wiggle. So I don't understand. She says she's good at the diaper change. Her wiggle monster loves to roll and poop. So I'm assuming what she means is she's good at preventing her little wiggle monster from rolling in the poop.
Yeah, I guess, because I wouldn't say a kid covered in shit is a success story,
no.
but
It's not actually, it's not flying colors.
I mean,
Except for Brown.
The Hammer really liked to pee all over everything.
Yeah, including your face and your mouth.
Yeah, your face. Dude was a lot. He's still a lot.
Here's a fun tip. If you're like in the desert and you're dehydrated, you can drink your own urine, just not your baby's. It will not be good for you, okay?
You know what? Clanter2 here says, I was so good at changing diapers. Sadly, my kids are now 8 and 10. I think one funny thing about when we first had kids is that you literally had never had any kid experience.
Yeah.
Like, I have younger brothers and sisters. I have nieces and nephews. I've been around kids all my life. Tons of kids everywhere.
I spent my life avoiding children until I had them.
Yeah, you were the baby of your family and the first one to have a kid. So I remember you coming to me and you legit had no idea how to change a diaper. Just no fucking idea.
But guess what? I aced it. I did it once and then I was like a natural.
It took some time, but it was really funny. I remember being very miffed, being like, what do you mean? You don't know how to do it?
It's not my fault.
So natural. I don't
People
know.
have different life experiences. It's not my fault. The question, I stepped up and I got the job done and I changed a shitload of diapers. Probably not as many as Ryan Reynolds, the world's greatest super dad of all time, but a fair amount.
Okay.
I got some problems with Ryan Reynolds.
I got some problems with Ryan Reynolds.
Sir Dougie Fresh said he's good. Sounds like Ryan Reynolds is going to have
problems.
another problem. Don't sing it, bring it. Sir Dougie Fresh says he was good at burping the baby, and that's it. And this is one of the things I found refreshing about this is, while we did get a lot of comments where people were giving themselves credit, most people were very much like, this one thing and that's about it, or this one or two things, and I appreciate that because this shit is hard, and there's not a lot of stuff that a lot of people are good at. So S. Bladen, who said...
I don't know, I have a very lengthy list. We can get into
congratulations. S. Bladen, who was like, why is it so easy to think of the negative stuff instead of the good stuff, says she thinks she's good at reading with her kids and taking them outside. So we got a lot of good at reading comments.
Yeah.
Math teacher girl says I'm good at reading. My 4 baby elephant says I'm awesome at reading to my kids every night. Kinga Kava says teaching them to love books and reading together, which I think we've done a pretty good job. Certainly with the oldest, he loves books, loves reading.
Definitely, we had books every night. I can't say we have books every night with the hammer.
Yeah.
That being said, we have books every day. Like, it's there. Just sometimes at bedtime when they're literally jumping on the bed because that's the time they want to jump on the bed, and I don't understand why. And please go the fuck to sleep.
I have no interest in reading to you at that point.
We're not although we have been. We've been, I think, even better lately.
The only thing I want to read at that point is the label on my beer. Am I right? Look at that. Fist bump. So here's one thing that I'm terrible at. So MPK_Chronopia says she's good at reading books and making up voices for all the different characters. I can't. Like, I'm great at a handful of impressions. Like when I do Sean Connery singing Dave Matthews.
Please don't.
Tell me, who's the king of your satellite castle, right? Nobody even remembers that, right?
Okay, I'll give
every once in a while, I nail it.
But guys, understand, I've heard a lot of bad fucking impressions from Dad and Barry.
And a lot of great ones. So our friend Tim, he's the kind of guy who will like do voices and like he would like do kids parties sometimes with his guitar and like no shame, not self-conscious at all.
First time we visited him, it was awkward. With this kid.
I'll be in the room at night, like reading my kid a story, and like I'm self-conscious about doing voices. Then, I guess I just sort of I need an audience, right, to get my juices flowing. But I've never been really good at, doing the funny voices and stuff. I'm really good at reading really fast and skipping pages without my kids knowing. But that's about it.
Oh yeah, no, but like now they're starting to memorize the shit. They're like, no, I'm sorry, you missed the part where. The hungry caterpillar has not eaten the cake yet,
They can
Mom.
tell, like, what are you skipping, bro?
Yeah.
Get back to that page. Then you end up doubling the amount of time you're reading. It really backfires.
It really is.
So obviously, look, we got a ton of jokes because this podcast is for fun. All of the stuff that I do.
Our followers on Instagram are the absolute fucking best.
They are great.
And they have a great sense of humor. I.e. like ours.
Except when you if you hashtag stuff like MAGA forever, you bring in a lot of people that don't have great sense of humor, and then I get to fuck with them and shit on them. I enjoy that, but we got a lot of jokes, right? So KT Brothers says she says, can I say none of it in terms of what she's good at, and which is funny. So I'm watching The Bad Batch, which is the new animated show on Disney Plus about Star Wars with my kid. He really wants me to watch it. I'm not a Star Wars expanded universe guy. I never watched Clone Wars, whatever. I'm trying to bond with my kid. She's making me. She's like, he really wants to bond with you. I'm like, whatever. Oh, I have to watch TV for half an hour? Fine.
So we won't put bonding with the kid
there's a
on
little
the list of your accomplishments. Got it.
There's a little kid on the show, and the episode we watched last night, the latest episode, another character was like, raising a kid is a lot harder than being a soldier. And I'm watching it with my kid, and as this is happening, I'm like, I really hope he's understanding this and he realizes how hard parenting is, so that he gives me a little bit of leeway in terms of how much I fuck up, because we had a bit of a rough day yesterday.
The costumes or something.
Yeah,
the fucking thing.
We had a bit of a rough day yesterday.
We did. We
and
had
I'm
a hell of a
hoping
day.
he saw that episode and was like, "Oh, you're right. My dad is struggling at this too. Nobody's just naturally good at parenting. I mean, you'd think he'd be good after 10 years, but no, I'm still not."
Let's give him like 20 to 30 years, and I bet he'll pick up that message. All he needs is his own
open.
kids.
So W_RITE_on, so right on, says, good at repeating mistakes. Me too. Thank you. Drew Blount, I can F up a perfectly good day so well. Again, another one of my strengths.
One of your best accomplishments.
Chan Cantastic says she's good at the part after they go to sleep. Me too, especially when it comes to...
A little something, a little end of day beer.
A little something,
I'll say, there are some days though, Dad and Barry, that you save where like, if you're in the right mindset, if you get Dad and Barry on a really good day and it's going hard and I'm about to lose it, you can reel it back in, especially because they expect you
to be the opposite.
So when it's like, whoa, we got fun, easy going Dad and Barry, and he's not losing his shit at all the shit that Mom and Barry's not.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I'm a moody guy, all right? It happens. And then my mood is 95% of the time shitty. All right, so I have done a tweet about this once where I was like, one of the keys to surviving parenting with your spouse or your partner or whatever is that neither of you wants to, you don't both want to kill your kids at the same time. So like, if one of you is really frustrated, hopefully the other one is in a good enough place to like remove the kids or remove that person and take over and come in and maybe salvage the day, or vice versa. And that is really just about communication and understanding your partner and all hands on deck and that kind of thing.
It's really nice when it works out that way. I know it can't always, guys. Don't be sitting there thinking that, oh yes, it's always this perfect balance and one of them. No.
We're terrible.
But sometimes it's great.
So here's another thing I'm great at. The Papa French says Instagramming from the toilet. Fucking
absolutely
so
one of your top 3 talents.
Thank
Probably
you.
75% of the posts that you see on Instagram are from our toilets.
Here's one of your top 3 talents. Dawn McThree says overanalyzing what I got wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You're the queen of overanalysis.
I overanalyze literally everything I'm doing as I'm doing it. Earlier today, I was with the hammer in the park, and I'm doing the whole mom thing, and I'm playing the snake game, or whatever he wants to play. And
Let's clarify, the snake game is not as weird as it sounds. It involves actual snakes.
He likes to pretend snakes are right. It doesn't matter. He's in a real weird snake phase. But
I
we're
think
like
it's a phase.
running around in like the forest or whatever. We're playing this game, and I'm like, I'm being like fucking super mom, right? In my mind, I'm analyzing. No, not that I'm blowing it, but I'm analyzing things like, okay, but how can I be at this level all the time? And blah blah. Yeah, I'm fucking epic, Dawn McThree. You and I should not get together and
do not get together.
It will be a real
just
shit show.
It's just a downward spiral waiting to happen. VC_07 says she's great at pretending I got my shit together. I don't pretend. That's one of the things. I would say that I'm honest to a fault, and I don't ever pretend that I have my shit together.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even if I do have my shit together, I'll pretend I don't, because it's more entertaining. And
come on. Can't we sometimes also be transparent when things are going well and you're not
sometimes.
a piece of shit human?
I do sometimes. I'll get serious every once in a while and admit, be like, hey, I'm good at this or I'm good at that every once in a while. I try to mix it up. Gabby Aivas, I feel like maybe that was Gabby Jivas, says she's good at carrying a kid surfboard style mid-meltdown and not spilling her coffee. That's a real talent.
That is a talent.
The surfboard thing is
the
good.
Stiff as a board. Which our hammer has gotten really into lately, stiff as a board sort of thing. Only then, when you try to embrace the stiff as a board, he starts kicking.
Yep.
And he's freakishly strong.
Mm-hmm. Like, you know when you're trying to get clothes on a baby and you can't tell if the baby's really strong or if you're just being too cautious, you don't want to like twist their arm. Same thing with like a 5-year-old, except he actually is strong and it's sort of scary.
But no,
he gets you in the jaw.
Cameron
it's trouble.
always been a lot. Like, he was in the NICU. He's in the NICU.
Mm-hmm. And
they take like 3 nurses to like hold him down and be like, wow, God, this kid is freakishly strong.
Is the NICU one of the Jonas Brothers? Mr. Perfectly Fine? That's another Taylor Swift song I like. Okay. I do. I like it. I'm not ashamed. TSKA Mom says she's great at bribery. You know what? You have to be a good parent. You have to be able to lay down a bribe every once in a while. I'm good at threats. Actually, I'm not that good at threats because I over-threat, which you get upset about. Agitated Alien says, is anyone actually good at it? And you know what? I think people are good. They have good moments. And the key is to hopefully have a balance between the good moments and the bad.
You know what? One of my favorite things I've ever heard from a therapist, so you can see how perfect it's going over here. My therapy session is...
No shame in therapy.
No, absolutely not. Any parent who cares as much as you do about these things, you're sitting here overanalyzing with me.
That's a good
is
sign.
a good parent.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, you're playing the long game, but in the end, I think it'll be okay. It all feels like huge failure right now, and it feels hard, and it is hard, but if you care that much, then you're in a good place.
If you're giving yourself anxiety and you're nervous and you're worrying about it and you're that conscientious,
if you're a complete
odds are
fucking wreck
you're
over
doing
your
something
kids,
right.
You're
Not
winning.
caring is the worst thing you can do as a parent. And I should know because I've tried it. I honestly wish I could care less. I have a lot less anxiety about it. All right, so
this is a good segue to some of the emotional stuff.
I was just going to say, this is your
about.
bailiwick. Yeah, I know that word. Emotional stuff. So Aurora of the Dead says she's good at saying sorry when she's been an asshole because she was too tired. And I will say, I'm pretty good at that too. I'm not necessarily good always in the moment, But I do realize the value and the necessity of
Absolutely.
if you blow up at your kid, or even if you're like fighting with your spouse in front of your kids, or you have just a bad moment, going up to your kid afterward and explaining, hey, look, I'm sorry that happened. I'm human too. I have emotions sometimes. I'm struggling too, like we saw in the Bad Batch. Please take that to heart.
Bad Batch is getting a lot of press here.
But it's important to own up to your mistakes and to be transparent with your kid and be like, look, parenting is hard. I don't always know what I'm doing. Most of the time I'm dominating, but sometimes I'm blowing it, and I'm gonna admit it to you.
I think I would agree. You are good at that, and I think together, all parents don't necessarily completely align on the way they see parenting the kids and stuff.
The discipline, yeah.
But you and I are both in the camp of being like, okay, I might nudge you, or vice versa, being like, you got to go talk to him, because you've said that to me too. And I won't lie, I've been going through some shit, guys, and I'm not my best self, and my patience is thinner than it's been
Her
ever.
patience is so thin, it's almost as thin as mine is on a good day.
That's not true. That's just rude. I just said I'm going through some shit. What are you laying on me for?
I'm sorry.
No, anyway.
Making it worse as usual.
But definitely, I think it's important to, you apologize, you say you're sorry, you explain it. And because I don't want my kids growing up thinking that it's just okay to act that way. And also thinking that it's not okay to make mistakes,
Sure.
And seeing your parents make mistakes and own up to them, I think is a huge thing.
You need to take responsibility, have some accountability. It's a big part of being an adult.
Yeah, because if you are one of those parents that's acing every fucking moment of your life, this is not the podcast
like Ryan
for
Reynolds.
you.
Yeah, seriously. Unless you want to make yourself feel even better.
Real good.
Yeah.
In which case, you're welcome.
So, Untethering Annie says she's good at the emotional stuff. She says, my kids' feelings are safe with me even if I don't understand them. And I will say that you are really good at that. I'm not as good at necessarily empathizing with some stuff, even when it comes to some stuff that you're going through. Sometimes I struggle to understand some of that and to relate to it well.
Process it
certainly in the moment. But I think you're very good at that and being really in tune and in touch with their feelings and allowing them to have them. And sometimes that's where my apologies come in after the fact, where I don't react to something well in the moment, but after the fact I'll be like, okay, I got to do some mop-up duty here so my kids don't hate me.
Odd way to put it, but okay. I will say our 10-year-old is an emotional person, much like me. And
for better or worse.
Sorry. No. I think it's good. I think that will fare him well, but it's harder to be a highly emotional person than probably not to be. I don't know. Yeah. I've never been that. But he'll come and talk to me about it pretty openly about everything. Terrified about the teen years because shit's going to get real. Because he will talk to me about everything.
Well, we'll see.
But I wouldn't go talk to my parents about everything. And I do take that as a bit of a success. So, yay on you parents out there that your kids feel safe sharing their feelings.
So Viveke Havaragard, it sounds like Scandinavian name of some kind, thanks for listening, says that she's good at making her kids feel loved and consoling them when they are upset or sad, which is sort of the same kind of thing, which is great. Again, I'm not necessarily always good at reacting well in the moment, but I think I am good at that kind of thing once I've kind of calmed down and after the fact and gone and made it clear that, I'm not as much of a monster as I just seemed like I was like 2 minutes ago.
You need more processing time, and unfortunately with kids, you
don't get any. Yeah,
it's just click, click, click. Let's go.
Eliza Stricty says that she's great at endless snuggles and taking care of them when they are sick. So I would be great at endless snuggles if my kids liked giving them to me. They like to give them to her, and sometimes I'll say, "Hey, Hammer, can I have a snuggle?" And he'll just immediately go to her, like in my face, like really rude.
Yeah. What's his reasoning for
you're more comfortable.
I'm more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm softer, which sounds like an insult, but I think it's mainly boobs.
Let me have a couple more years of six packs, and I'll be pretty soft.
Let's not go there. Let's not. But the worst thing the Hammer does, this is cruel, guys. This is cruel. He will say, "You get 30 seconds of snuggles," and then it'll be like, "Alexa,
Yeah, he'll set a timer
30.
for how long a snuggle he's going to give me. And then halfway through, like a 1 minute snuggle, he'll go, Alexa, how much time is left? Like, legitimately. Like, he's like, oh, Jesus, I got another 45 seconds of this bullshit. And then he'll get off me and go back to you. He, like, makes me earn them. He'll be like, if you do this, you'll earn 10 minutes of snuggles. And then I never get that 10 minutes, never even close. He gets bored after 10 seconds. It's unbelievable. You just get them. Yeah, I have to earn them.
I am also great at endless snuggles. And since sometimes I'll be laid up with, like, MS issues and stuff like that, that's good. That's good. Although sometimes endless snuggles can be like
annoying. Get off.
It'll be like, dude, I need a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is one of the things I absolutely love about having a little.
I wanted to talk about this one thing that Eliz Strictus says. She says she's very good at taking care of her kids when they are sick. Hello, Gatorade and TV. So obviously, sick kids love when their moms dote on them. I've written about this in my blog in the past. I think while it's great, and I certainly was there for that when I was a kid, this is where the man flu comes from. This is where man colds come from. This is why women hate their husbands when they're sick, because husbands have been bred to expect this kind of care from their moms and from the women in their lives. And then, if you didn't dote on our kids when they were sick, they wouldn't grow up to be husbands who are doting on or waiting for their wives to dote on them.
Okay. Counterpoint.
You did it yourself. You do it to yourselves.
Me, a female, and my 3 sisters in my family were all doted on. We got to lay in mom's bed. They would give us like ginger ale and crackers. There was a TV in mom's room. We also got that treatment. But then we grew the fuck up, took care of ourselves, and also took care of our men when they have a sniffle.
Look, there's scientific studies that show that the flu hits, the colds hit men harder, okay? That's just the way it is. And look, fuck this. Who wants to be good at being sick? Sorry, I'm not good at being sick. Sorry, I'm miserable. Sorry, I just want to be laying down and watching TV. Sorry, I don't want to do shit. Yeah, who does when they're sick?
Are you talking about...
We do shit. We power through. Shut up, ladies.
Are you talking about when you're sick or just in general?
In both.
That's what you
Who wants to do anything ever? Let's be real here.
I like to do things.
Okay. Speaking of things you like, being sentimental is one of them. So we got a lot of these comments. So Bentini80.
This whole thing isn't just about sentimental.
This part is.
This part is.
Bentini80, and a bunch of people said this thing, says she's really good at making things fun. We have 2 little boys, and I love to have dance parties with them, sing, play games, do messy art projects that kids love, go on adventures. All of that is shit that you like to do and that you do that I'm not interested in.
You know what?
I don't like fun.
Bentini, I'm good at a lot of things that make things fun. And I'm good at traditions, which we're about to get to.
Yes. Well, she mentions that too.
I don't like messy art projects because I do not like messes.
Neither
like
do our
slime.
kids.
Our kids hate slime, so that really works out for me. And we do, I don't know, we'll have little dance parties and stuff like that, but I'm not like, I don't know, I know there are people on Instagram where the moms just seem to be fucking dancing, singing all the time, and I'm like, what?
Well, maybe if you did that, you'd go viral on TikTok, but no, you don't want to take one for the team?
No, you don't either.
No.
I already said, couples.
The world's not ready for these dance moves.
Come on, let's go. You're really not. If you were at our wedding, you would know.
Oh, come on, I crushed our dance.
Okay.
So Bentini80 says she's also very good at starting and keeping traditions. We make our pizza every Friday night and watch a movie. Once a month we have pajama day, way more during COVID. We deliver little baskets to neighbors on May Day, play board games, and bake something on rainy days, blah, blah, blah. So I would say Mom and Buried is huge on making things special and making traditions, just like Bentini80 having our Friday night movie nights. Obviously, we've had way more during COVID, not just Fridays as well. Our Ellis Island says that she's great at making birthdays really special. Again, you dominate birthdays and parties, these kind of special things. Celia, Syliaa, says she makes a sick fucking scavenger hunt. She does that too. She did a whole Goonies map thing where she like burnt the side of the map so it looked like it had been aged. We're in the park. There's clues. She's reading them, and I've been roped into like helping write the clues. Here's the thing though. That stuff has backfired, and now every single occasion my 10-year-old wants a scavenger hunt. I'm like, buddy, I'm not writing like 5 poems to find something in the fucking downstairs bathroom, okay?
We do for birthdays and even this year for Christmas, we did a scavenger hunt. There's a lot of it. And he likes to do them for me, like for Mom's birthday. For Mother's Day, he wanted to do one. He's just all about them. I think that's kind of sweet, and it feels like something that he might pass on. you reminded me of the it was a pirate birthday.
Yeah,
but a
not
Goonies
Goonies.
birthday.
You wore a Goonies
but
t-shirt.
like I did, because Goonies never say die. Awesome. Anyway.
Okay.
It was very pirate themed. It wasn't even, I think, the best birthday party I've thrown. Harry Potter, I would say, was one of my best accomplishments.
But there wasn't a scavenger hunt that one. But
there was no scavenger hunt. But anyway,
it was an amazing
the burn
party.
map and everything, like at the Harry Potter birthday, I actually had like
she trained owls that went to people's houses and dropped invitations. People.
I became an owl trainer. No, but I did send like the special mail invitations, which alone is whatever. We had candles. We had a great haul. We had candles hanging from the ceiling.
I had to do so much stupid bullshit.
Potions.
Tape the candles to the ceiling, blowing up all sorts of balloons. I always get roped into this crap. This is why I don't like this stuff.
We had the like platform and stuff.
Yeah, the train station one. It was like whatever that stupid thing is where they walk through the brick wall.
And then we've done like Avengers ones where Daddy
Zelda.
Barry always.
I was
Zelda,
Thanos.
Zelda was
at the
great.
Avengers one.
But you had to be Thanos, and then just a huge troop of kids just attacked you.
With what was it? With
it was a good time.
paintballs or something?
That was Silly String.
God, a couple of kids really went for it. Really disturbing.
That was like when they were like 9. They really went for it. I miss in COVID those big birthdays. We did manage to do a sweet one for the Hammer this year, but
yeah, we did with our friends. Yeah.
I'm
themed.
I'm all in. I'm all in on birthdays.
Well, this September is 11th, so maybe there'll be another
we're ready.
one.
I think it's time.
God, I hope not.
And I do think the thing about traditions, which is interesting to see, is Detective Munch is 10 now. And we too have made so many traditions. Like, for instance, like it'll be around Christmas, and we usually go to this neighborhood that has like Christmas lights and stuff.
Yeah, Diaper Heights.
And we were getting close to like past the Christmas season. He's like, wait a minute. Yeah. He's like, got the checklist traditions, man. We got to go apple picking. We got to get pumpkins. We got to do Christmas
But he
lights.
has your anxiety over it, as we mentioned earlier. He's emotional, has anxiety about that stuff. He'll be like, oh, shit, we're going to miss this. Or like, oh, what if we don't do this tradition? And he'll get all like,
but
we
always love the traditions.
Well, we really? Okay.
Well, you're the problem.
So a handful of people said that they're good at cooking with their kids. Ashet Shail says she's good at cooking with her kids, even though it makes a huge mess and stresses me out. Hello, Mom and Buried. Samantha L. Delaney says she's great at toddler meals.
No, we're horrible at that.
No, it's chicken
Our
nuggets.
toddler / pre-K-er now, he eats nothing.
Mac and cheese every once in a while.
He'll be like...
Pancakes.
Yeah.
Eggo waffles if we're lucky.
Time to give up.
Yeah. Mini muffins. The what are they called? The little bites from Entenmann's. Yep. That's all he eats.
He's 95% mini muffins.
He honestly is. For like every day for like 2 years, he eats a bag of mini muffins every day in the morning. Get off me. You know what? You can't judge my life.
He's fine. I stuck some like cheese and carrots and stuff in them, and those are huge successes.
Inside the little bites? Stuff a carrot inside the mini muffin?
No.
That's gross. Ashley Wow says she loves playing with her kids. So, Ariana Bradford, is that her name? Ariana Bradford?
She's awesome.
She's great.
I love her.
Follow her on Twitter, on Instagram if you don't. She wrote a blog post, I think on like Medium, about how she doesn't like playing with her kids. And it's okay if you don't like playing with your kids. And I agree. When I was a kid, my mom and dad weren't like down in the trenches fucking playing with me all the time.
Never.
My kids need to be entertained at all times, and that's the problem is if we're not doing it, a screen is doing it. And, I'm lazy and don't like playing with my kids all that much, so go melt your brains kind of thing.
You're a little better with board games now that the one is older.
Better with board games, and the older one can play, but get out of here with your Candyland crap. Or we'll do like roughhousing. We'll do roughhousing. One of them likes to do like some sporty stuff, and the older one has nothing to do with that, so that's a problem. They don't like the same things. I do what I can, but it's really fucking boring. I don't want to play trains. Who wants to play trains? I'm not interested. You want to play trains? There's no shame in not liking to play
so much
games
as like
4-year-olds like.
I hate to bring up Snake Game again because it makes fucking sense, but I'm just standing there. I'm like,
we can play Snake Game later.
Okay, wow, look at you.
No kids allowed.
I don't.
This is gross. You're gross. Why did you bring that up? You pervert.
Okay. Anyway, I absolutely love that even our 10-year-old still plays imaginatively, and he's
for sure.
He's an Avengers character. He's all these things, and it's absolutely amazing. But like, let's say you're pretending you're Harry Potter. I don't want to be Madame Morrible. I mean, I'll
What's her
dress
name?
Madame Morrible.
Is that
No,
a
oh, I'm
person?
sorry, that's Wicked. Sorry, I don't
even know who that
it's
is.
Another Harry Potter. That's a Wicked
Hagrid.
character.
He's always wants you to be Hagrid.
Is that a woman?
No.
Okay.
It's
dressed
Robbie
up as
Coltrane.
Hermione.
It's Robbie Coltrane.
That's something else we're good about.
Yeah, Hermione.
Dressing up. Okay.
Okay. Ryan Reynolds.
Where's this going?
I don't know. It's a snake game. I thought we were getting into it.
I will dress. We are really good at dressing up for Halloween. That's another.
I've been
good
roped into it, but
tradition.
I'm
Yes.
incredible at it.
Yes, you've been a good.
Except that
snake.
year that I was Fred from Scooby-Doo. My nipples were popping. I was like 300 pounds. Do not look for that photo. Do not scroll back. You will not like what you see, and I don't want to be reminded.
You've been Hulk.
I've been Hulk. I've been Snape. People loved my Snape.
Everyone loved your Snape.
I was
Hermione.
Elliot with E.T. on my bike.
Yeah, that was my idea. I'm
E.T. in a
genius,
box.
Honestly.
E.T. in a box.
It's so good.
Hannah's DM86 says she's great at always having snacks and drinks. It minimizes whining possibilities when out and about. So I think this is something every parent needs to be on top of, is having your diaper bag or whatever bag you use as the kids get older full of every possible thing. It really sucks because you can never leave the house easily. And this is one of the things that I hate, is because every time we're getting ready to go somewhere, you are like prepping for like 45 minutes and you're asking me to go fill the bag with snacks and stuff. And I don't want to do that. I don't know what they want. I just throw everything in there, and then we come back and they've eaten.
In there.
Well, we come back and they've eaten one thing, and then the next weekend comes and I add more to it, and then all of a sudden the bag is just full of all the shit that we didn't use last time. All this stuff goes stale. All of it gets ruined. But our 10-year-old gets hangry.
And has, like, I remember this back to, like, when he was, like,
We
3.
have always known this. Like, we need to feed this kid or it will be miserable, and yet we still somehow don't manage to do it every time.
Well, here's the thing.
He resists.
We finally, yes, he does resist. And we finally, because he's excited about the activity. Like, last week we went to the museum for the first time in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
We're museum people. It's amazing. We live in New York City. We have access to such great stuff.
He's super
excited,
psyched.
and he's like, he's ready to just do the thing. He doesn't want to stop and
And
eat.
he won't eat in our car.
He has ADHD too. Oh yeah, and he gets car sick, so he won't really eat in the car. It's 1,000,000% true.
He has gotten car sick. I think he's a little dramatic. Gets that from you.
No.
Anyway, it's tough because when he gets in a bad mood, we often are just like, God damn it, we forgot to feed him, or we should have forced him to eat.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, we're past the point, because we're always running late in the morning. And we're always trying to get to these events, like, so we can be back by, like, 5 or 6, a decent time to sit the fuck down and watch a movie.
Start drinking.
And have beers.
And play the snake game.
Okay. No one, for the record, has ever called it the snake game. At least
They
at
have
our
now.
house.
They
Maybe
have
you
now.
guys have. I don't know.
I bet you on like Three's Company they call it the snake game once.
But regardless, the problem is it used to work, like for our younger one, packing some Z-bars and packing like yogurts and packing like things like that actually kind of worked.
Those applesauce
Our
things,
10-year-old needs like a 5-course meal
Yeah.
at this point. He's like eating
Oh my
a
God,
lot
he
more.
eats so much.
And it's just like, I'm so sorry that I don't have
So
a
annoying.
steak dinner in the bag to give you so you're not hungry.
Eat this garbage and just shut up, right? It's so annoying to have to feed your kids, to be honest about it.
And, you know, I think that we're kind of people who don't, other than like dinner, we kind of like will eat on the go. We're not
never
like trying
even
to
eat
make
breakfast.
a big deal
Just
about
get it
it.
in my
We're
belly.
just like, dude, you're fine.
Just need some protein. Yumma, 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 right?
Okie dokie.
So speaking of like packing stuff, Felshem, who lives in our neighborhood, says she can pack for a day out with the kids like a pro. I'm not quite as good.
Come hang out with us.
No, I said to her that we should get together at some point. So
We should.
So this is something that you are good at that I'm not good at, right? So up midduck, I don't know what that means, says she's great at planning ahead obsessively, timing naps, making play dates. Seraphine Donnelly says she's great at scheduling shit. This is a good, she says, keep those camps, classes, and activities moving so she doesn't actually have to parent, let other people do it. And AKA Mr. S or Mrs. T says, she's great at sports/activity scheduling and organization. She has a giant spreadsheet and boxes full of equipment and stuff. You are really good at like keeping a calendar, having everyone like logistically knowing what's coming up, what's going to be done, all this kind of stuff. I am terrible at scheduling and organization and all that kind of thing.
But there are like people out there. There's like this whole
Incredible, yeah.
that are so fucking good at this. They have like color-coded pantries. Looks amazing.
The people who had like color-coded schedules for homeschooling, like at the beginning of COVID and throughout it, how about that? It's a big middle finger for you people. No offense.
I had one I had one. Here's the thing.
Was...
You know what I've been good at since I was like young? Okay, I remember.
I almost said the snake game.
In college, you look at that bee, Jesus, man. By the way, I'm the judge.
Jesus would not
of whether or not you're going to say, hey, you want to go
We've
there?
got 2 kids, so.
Okay, so no, when I was like even back in college, do you remember trapper keepers? People who are old as us.
You used a trapper keeper in college?
No, there was you know what it was? It was 5-star notebooks. It doesn't matter. They had a commercial, and the commercial was like, "This year is gonna be different." And me and my college friend joked about, I'm really, really good at buying things to organize with. I'm not
good
great
at actually organizing with those things.
Or I'll kind of organize and then just abandon.
Yeah.
So I have like a really great plan.
So what you like to do is shop. What you don't like to do is actually use things. You want to just go buy more things. Congratulations.
I have some beautiful planners with inspirational quotes that have nothing in them.
All right, so moving on. So we got discipline was a big category, right? So Lisa Rose Hutton says she's good at not threatening a consequence that she's not prepared to follow through on. She gives herself a little shit and sarcastically says, I'm so much fun. But I think that's a big skill because one of the problems you have with me is that I'll often be like, yeah, no screens for a week kind of shit, which is not only an absolute nightmare for you and I who are going to be with the kids for the rest of that week. And then we don't like to play with them and we don't like to schedule things for them. So we're fucking screwed.
True. I, by the way, do schedule things. I just don't use the scheduling tools that I've invested in.
But going overboard and over-threatening with something that you're not prepared to follow through on not only is not good in the moment, it sets a precedent that makes all of your threats just totally meaningless and makes your discipline completely useless. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I would say that early on when we were still paying attention to parenting books or parenting blogs, that was the one thing that would come up. I was. So... not threatening a consequence that you're not prepared to follow through on. And I was like, what they say, this is on child number 1, right? Is that if you do that, they never believe you. You have set the precedent to where discipline doesn't even work because you are no longer believable. And it's a real problem for the long term. And so anyway, we talked about this and it was a problem in Habitat and Buried. And now that our kid is 10, I can say the parenting books were 100% right. And this was not a good tactic for you to employ.
And my threats. Same with yelling. You yell too much and it starts to become just white noise. It doesn't mean anything. So I got to bring it back down so then my yells start to become powerful again. Or else I just make my yells even louder.
No.
How about that?
You already have like a loud voice. He doesn't scream nonstop, by the way. Just, 60, 70% of the time.
For the lawyers?
For the lawyers. I'm just trying to cover, child services here.
Speaking of not screaming, Yellowbug319 says she's great at staying super calm when shit really hits the fan. That's a big skill. Remember, so we were with our friends at a park once, and their kid fell and gashed his head open with a rock. And they were like on it, and they grabbed the kid, they knew what to do, and meanwhile I had fainted because there was the possible blood sighting around, and I'm not good with that kind of thing.
She had like a plastic surgeon on the line in like 10 minutes. It was amazing. It was impressive. We're just sitting over there like...
The kid's fine now.
No, kid's fine.
Not even a scar.
I would say that that is something I thought I would be good at.
It's really hard. Like when the kid's in peril or something scary happens.
Dad and Barry is definitely better at the staying calm thing. I will give all the snuggles, but I am panicking.
Yeah, and that doesn't do anybody any good. So even worse is our 10-year-old panics. So like if something's going wrong or if he thinks something bad has happened or like if his little brother trips and gets hurt, the 10-year-old will come like running up the stairs like, what's happened? What happened? And all it does is just make everything...
And he'll start crying.
They'll
start crying for each other. That's like what happened in our shit day yesterday. Something, the 10-year-old's upset. He's crying. So
the 5-year-old's upset. And then you're screaming and I'm just veering off into traffic. It was not a good afternoon, but then we watched The Bad Batch, and I said, this is what...
I did not. Like. I locked myself in my room and ignored everyone.
So My Peanut Adventures, she says, surprisingly, I'm good in crisis, because it is the kind of thing you don't necessarily know until it happens, right? So it's like in the movie The Godfather, when Michael Corleone is not yet involved in the family business, and his dad is in the hospital, and he realizes there's a hit coming, and he goes out front to stand with the baker who was bringing the cake, and they're standing out front, and the hitmen drive by. And Michael, in that moment, when he's lighting, the baker can't light the match because his hands are shaking too much. And Michael lights it for him. And he looks down and he realizes his hands are steady. And that's when he realizes he's calm and he has a killer instinct. And then it's all over there.
What movie did you just
The
randomly
Godfather.
get into?
What movie? Only the greatest movie of all time. Although I prefer Godfather too. Anyway, you don't know until it happens, right? So My Peanut Adventure says, she's surprisingly, I'm good in a crisis. I always thought I'd be hysterical, but I keep it together. And then once things are under control, I have a quick cry in the bathroom. What do you think about that? Is that like, if you can keep it together and then you burst? I went backwards a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like, where are you?
And this was another thing. So moving on a little bit, this was another thing that came up where a handful of parents said they're really good at advocating for their kids. So My Peanut Adventure says she's most importantly good at advocating for her special needs child. We have a kid with ADHD. We have a kid with a speech delay. And just even now, they're transitioning schools. And you have to be like, all right, like, we need to have these services. We have to have all these meetings with these admin people who are just inclined to be like, no, we're not going to give this to you. And you have to sit there and be like, he needs this. Here's why he needs this. Blah, 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 blah. And you need to advocate. And it's a huge skill that you need. And with you yourself, you've learned that yourself as somebody with MS who's constantly going to doctors and stuff. You need to stress, like, you need to, I need this, I need that, because they really want to shuffle you around to the next person or whatever.
Right.
And they don't necessarily take it seriously.
Doctor, they have a lot going on and stuff. And so I will say, like, so I'm not working right now since this pandemic began. And, you know, when she brings this up, I'm thinking about, like, we are going into our older son moving into middle school, our younger son moving into elementary school. And the sheer fucking amount of time that I have put into, like, data collection to make sure he gets, like, an OT service that I know he needs, and just scheduling all these appointments and assessments and da-da-da. I would say we are also good at advocating for that stuff. You know, like, even with Munch and getting his ADHD, there's a great episode if any of you are in a similar situation, but parenting a kid with ADHD, I know, is a really popular episode that was done a while ago. By us.
On the Dad and Barry channel.
Dad and Barry podcast.
Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast.
Helpful just to hear, like, the kind of shit we went through and hoops you have to jump through. And, you know, even right now, I'm dealing with some of that as Hammer's entering kindergarten. And just, it's so many people and so many meetings. And the reason I brought up the job thing is, like, sometimes doing this shit is like its own job.
Finding the right schools.
Unbelievable.
Here in New York, there's a lot of options. You got to find the right schools that have the infrastructure in place to do that. But here's the good thing. We should do
an episode on going to school in New York and how it's like college fucking admissions for your kid to go to 6th grade. And I'd have a lot to say about that right now. And you would never move to New York.
The good thing about advocating for your child is if you're good at it, you can get other people to take care of your child for you. As somebody said earlier, Seraphine Donnelly said about scheduling stuff. You're like, keep those camps, classes, activities moving. Keep those, you know, specialized professionals in there taking care of your kids so you don't have to deal with it. I love it.
Throwing money at the problem.
Exactly.
All we need is money, and then we can throw it at the problem. Until
Sponsor
then, we're
us.
stuck with the kids.
Kristen Lee Hinkle says that somehow she instinctively knows what to do in any weird body/health situation. It's bizarre. She's like, a bug crawled in my kid's ear once and I just like knew to pour hydrogen peroxide in. Did you know? Because I feel like I could be there and be like, you know what? I got a good idea. Pour some hydrogen peroxide in it. It would totally be wrong and like melt the kid's ear off. I clearly don't know what hydrogen peroxide is. But look, I'm glad that you're good at it, Kristen Lee Hinkle, but it sounds like a bit of a gamble. It's called Google. You have a phone. It would take like 3 seconds. Just be like, what do I do with my kid's got a bug in his ear?
I mean, I'm just a little concerned because, so I get ear infections like a toddler. And this is what I do every year. I get an ear infection every single year when I go swimming. It is like clockwork. And
you pour some shit in your ear.
I pour some shit in my ear. And then I pour some more shit in my ear. And some more shit in my ear. It's just like, you know.
I keep telling you, Elmer's Fudd doesn't go in there. It's not going to do
it. There's a really
Elmer's
obscure
Fudd. Elmer's
reference
glue.
that I have to say because you love throwing out obscure pop culture references.
Mine aren't obscure.
Okay.
Mine are the best.
In It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there is an episode where a cat, it's
gets
a ridiculous
in the wall.
show. A cat gets stuck in a wall. So they decide.
How do you get the cat out?
Their plan was, we're just going to put more cats in the wall that'll chase that cat out. That's like my approach to ear infections. I'm just going to keep putting cats in the wall and just see what happens.
Charlie is a smart man. What's that thing with when Danny DeVito, Frankie puts wine in his Diet Coke can? Like, he's a smart man. He's a smart man.
Yeah,
anyway,
give it to him.
Great show. All right, so we got a bunch of random stuff. So to wrap this up, we got a bunch of random stuff where people said the random stuff that they're good at. Al Stryler Wright says she's great at taking pictures. That's great, right? We take a lot of photos. Delete most
I'm
of them,
good
but
at
they're
that.
good.
I'm good at taking pictures. Dad and Barry's not good at taking pictures of me with the kids.
I take a lot of selfies, right?
They quit that.
It's content.
You have a TikTok where you put lip balm on.
Chapstick.
But you can't.
Sponsor me.
But you can't take a picture of your wife
I
and your
take
children.
plenty of photos.
Get your shit together.
I take so many photos. You're like, I don't like how I look in these photos. And like, what's the point of doing this anymore?
that's a whole different problem. You have to also be good at it. Get it together.
Oh, so we missed a Shiloh Mason 3 says she's really good at advocating for her kids' mental health. Mbox04 says her kids are the nice kids at school. And that's great that your kids are the nice kids at school, but like, what kind of school do your kids go to? They're the only nice kids there.
No, I mean,
I'm just teasing.
Oh, please. I think that's huge. Having nice kids is huge.
It is huge. You obviously want your kids to be the nice kids who will like, befriend the loner, or like the kid who's getting picked on, come sit with me, make sure kids aren't lonely, that kind of stuff. It's great.
And just generally good. Like, in our kids' elementary school, like, you can just kind of say like, oh, those boys, and everyone knows those boys in his class that are a handful. I'm not saying they're dicks, but they're a handful. And he's not one of those boys. And I think he's a pretty nice kid, our older one.
He's on the nice side of the
super
spectrum.
Emotional.
Yeah.
So he's very sympathetic, I think, to people, and like that comes through. I think raising the nice kids, just round of applause.
Yes,
Genuinely doing
good.
that.
So Jules, JEWLZ 1108 says she's good at helping her kids feel confident, which is huge. It's sort of the key to life. If you're confident in yourself, who gives a shit what anybody else thinks? That's how you succeed, even if you're dumb shit. The flip side of that is you have somebody like Trump who should not be confident in himself. Things go wrong. Not saying that you're raising the next Trump, Jules. Let's work on that. Maybe hang out with Mbox, so make sure he's nice and confident. That's the combo that you want. Anyway.
To our fellow ADHD parents, I think that's a real
tough,
challenge because
10 compliments.
They say basically for every negative thing you say to an ADHD kid, you need to give them 10 positive things, which is a lot in a day.
It's hard.
Because I think a lot of ADHD kids go to a negative place. So it's something we're always trying to do and not always succeeding at.
Kendra Lou Mesa, good at braiding hair. I've never had the chance. I feel like I'd be a good girl dad, but I haven't had that chance. I bet
you blew it. You want to talk about who blew it? It was you.
I guess I'm not so good at the snake game.
You're the guy. So here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Yeah, snake game failed. Guys, here's the thing. So we were giving Dad and Barry a pass because, the men are the one who determine the gender. And we were just giving it a pass.
Who determined? Okay, it was not like I was like, all right, I want two boys.
What?
I wanted a girl. But
regardless, we were, for number 2, it was supposed to be a girl, everyone. It was supposed to be a girl. And when it was a girl, when it was not a girl, when it was 2 boys, and after I was done crying, I thought to myself, well, it just, genetics and everything. You come from a family of all boys. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of boys in his lineage. His mom, also wanted a girl, let's be honest, somewhere in there. And you failed there. But here's the problem. That was all good and great until his brother comes along and has 2 girls. And then, well, what the fuck? You don't get a pass anymore. What were you thinking?
Maybe they're not his kids. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
They look exactly like him. I think it's pretty safe.
So but
maybe you can braid their hair.
We got to wrap up with 2 quick ones, right? So Jeffrey Spolak 25 says he's good at trying and failing, which again, as we mentioned earlier, that's really all that matters. The failing doesn't matter so much as the trying. If you keep trying, that's what parenting's all about, right? Just keep giving it your best, doing what you can do. You
gotta wake up the next day and be ready to do it again. I mean, that itself, to everyone listening,
if you don't run away and leave, you know what? That's not easy to not run away and leave. I've thought about it a lot. Aunt_EE4, and a lot of other people said this, but she said, my kids are still alive, asking if she's good at that. And that's the key thing.
That's huge.
You've kept your kids alive.
And
that's all that matters in the long run.
Presumably fairly healthy, and cared for.
Healthy enough to live.
And to everyone who submitted all of the things that they're good at.
Kudos to you.
Kudos to you. And you have all kept your kids alive. In fact, most of our followers have probably done that.
Hopefully all of them.
Obviously people have tragedies and stuff, which are horrible, but none of them at the fault of the parents. So guys,
surviving something like that is a skill all in itself.
Oh my gosh, that's huge. But to all of you who are listening to us, and your kids are alive today, even if they're eating, like, I don't know, pickles and cheese for lunch.
What the fuck?
Or
eats pickles
Cheetos.
and cheese?
Or like Cheetos and a Gatorade. You know what? They're alive.
Just so long as they're not playing the snake game. All right. So you can catch the next episode on wherever you listen to this one on. You can find me and Mama Buried both on Instagram, Dad and Buried, Mama Buried, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere. Please subscribe, leave a rating. We need some ratings, especially on Apple. Some reviews if you got them.
Yeah, guys, I'm just gonna go all out and say it. So, I come from a marketing background. So does Dad and Barry, actually. And these like ratings and reviews are fucking huge. So if you want to keep it going and keep hearing us banter with each other and insult each other and talk about the snake game for no fucking reason, then please leave a review, leave ratings, and tell your friends. Pass it along.
And keep sending along your input when I ask those questions on my Instagram stories.
I know. We actually absolutely love hearing from all of you, and it helps us feel a little bit camaraderie. We are all a community.
Solidarity.
And that's what we're trying here in the Buried household.
So congrats on the things you're good at. Keep working.
You got this. Bye, guys.
I don't know why you would still be watching This Isn't a Marvel Movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there in the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money, all the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.